toasting. Yeah, that's what we do. Set 'em up, knock 'em down, make that cherry glow. Whiskey and cigars, the gentleman's cologne.
Cheers, y'all.
That sounds like a party just about to start, ladies
Welcome,
and
ladies and gentlemen, in stereo to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world famous Smokin' and Toastin'. It's show number 401.
Woohoo.
401.
So I was working the math out. That is halfway to 500.
Yeah. By the way, I thought maybe we should explain, since it was pointed out to me this weekend that some people don't know what the hi mom means when I say the world famous Smokin' and Toastin', and Ian always says hi mom, and it's really kind of simple and convoluted at the same time. But basically, my mom, God bless her, does not smoke, does not drink, does not really associate with people who do.
So she doesn't associate with you?
Right.
Christmas is rough.
Yeah. Let me put it this way. Whenever my wife and I go to her house, like for Christmas or Thanksgiving, there's always a flask involved. Okay. Just say it that way. But my point is that I felt like it was legitimate for us to describe this show as world famous when my mom found out that it existed.
Right.
Because my mom I've never told her about it. And there's no real connection that she would ever, because these are not things she's interested in.
Right.
You know, if you wanted to blow me away, let me go to my mom's house and find her on the back porch, sipping whiskey and smoking a cigar. That would my life would end. That would be, it does not compute, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, once my mom found out this show existed, I was like, well, that's it. We must be world famous.
That's right.
Because otherwise, how would she have ever known? So that's why the hi mom is in there. Ian is nice enough to say hi to my mom each week, because we know she's rushing to YouTube to check out the show. Oh, we are excited
Plus, we follow the basic theory too that the more times you tell a joke, the funnier it gets.
Well, Ian and I disagree on a great many things, but in this we are totally lockstep. Yeah. We both believe that jokes become funnier upon repetition.
Now, there's a lull. Okay, so when you tell a joke a couple times, it's funny, you can still laugh. Mm-hmm. Then there's a few times after you hear it where you go, it's that joke again.
Right.
Then it gets funny again after that. It just picks right back up.
It's kind of like if you ever light a cigar, you get like the Nicaraguan pepper blast, and it's really full and big, and then it settles down and it's almost like medium bodied or less. But then as you smoke it, it becomes bigger and fuller. The repetition of a joke is kind of that way.
Life described as a cigar.
I like it. I like it.
That's very good. That's but it's like a song on the radio. They play it too much, then not enough.
Yeah.
Then they play it a little more.
This is cigar philosophy.
Well, this is true. This is why we're seeing a renaissance right now in 90s music, because it all got played too much. And then it kind of went away because it had been played too much. And now it's like, I remember that song.
I can't believe that we're at that point that all of a sudden 90s music is like making a comeback. But if it was 70s music when I was a kid.
Right.
Weird.
Absolutely.
So weird.
But let me just point this out. No matter what 90s stuff you are hearing and enjoying right now, Creed still sucks.
Yes.
Okay?
Amen.
So rude.
And I don't know why. Like, YouTube seems to think I like them. They keep throwing them into my feed. I was like, I have never clicked on one of these Creed videos.
You talk about it.
Never. I guess it's because I mentioned it today.
Yeah, your phone listens to you.
Yeah.
So
I have
Creed.
This is a little old school, but I have two Pandora stations. One of them is awesome. All I did was type in Van Morrison.
Yeah, and then it went on from there.
And it went off and just became one of my favorite stations, right?
Yeah.
The other one, I typed in Audio Slave once,
and
it kept coming up with Mumford and Sons. No matter how many times I put thumbs down, I was like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear that.
That's why I don't do Pandora anymore, because I made it like a new music discovery station, and it kept playing "Don't Stop Believin'" by Journey. It's like, all right,
trying to tell you something.
All right, if I'm at a party, fine, let her rip. But no, don't. Anyway, we're way off topic, and we got a lot to talk about, including welcoming back to the show Danielle Gray from Angels Envy.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
And our good friend Roberto is back in the studio with us today. He sort of pod crashing, for lack of a better way to put it, but that's okay. I told him when I came in, Terry had set up 4 chairs. I was like, oh no. We're getting another guest. And I was so excited when Roberto walked in. I was like, oh, thank God it's not Alan Denny.
That guy.
I gotta meet this guy.
By the way, big ups to Alan Denny. We were out at his wife's birthday party over the last weekend. Happy birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
And we actually had a really good time. Alan's awesome. I just like giving him a lot of crap here. Well, our program today is going to be a good one, I think, because Danielle is back. And when she comes back, she brings Angel's Envy with her. And today she has brought an Angel's Envy that I have not had. Have you had this?
I have not had
This is brand new, right?
This is
Roberto,
Yes.
though, has had
This
this.
is
So
exciting.
just keep your mouth shut for a little while till we get a
Roberto
chance
was drinking
to
at
try
the
it.
time. He may or may not remember it.
This is the Angel's Envy Triple Oak, which we'll be trying.
Yes.
And then
Beautiful it is.
we'll also be, kind of comparing it to the regular bourbon. And then, Roberto, you brought something that's pretty interesting.
Super
That's
special.
Angel's Envy also,
Yes.
right?
So last week I was at the Reserve 101 with my friends over there and Danielle. The Reserve 101 release of their own single barrel pick, and this is finished in Oloroso sherry casks.
And it's Angel's Envy, right?
Angel's Envy, yeah.
It's Angel's Envy.
So we're going to have a sherry cask finish. The regular bourbon is
port wine finished.
port wine, and then this
we
new
have
triple oak is obviously
is finished in 3 different barrels.
Yeah.
Chinkapin, which is a species of American oak, which gives you a nice herbaceous, herbal, vegetal maybe finish. Hungarian for a little while, and that gives it
I'm not familiar with Hungarian oak.
a little bit of tannin, and
yeah.
so it's actually used for making things, not necessarily used for barrels
flavoring things, right?
for flavoring things. Yeah, so
The reason I've
gives it a
finished
little
this
bit
wall
of.
on my house is that my neighbor made a barrel.
Right. So the Hungarian gives it that caramel sort of flavor,
Okay.
and then French Limousine, which is the most expensive oak in the world, and it's the most sought after for the highest end stuff, and they're very careful about who they let have it. And so it's a finish of all 3 of those.
I'm excited.
So we're really excited.
Look at the beautiful color differences on these as well.
Yeah, between these two.
Between those two, and
Yeah.
then this one is
Yeah, they have their own little label that they make for their barrel
Nice.
picks
That's
and everything.
very cool.
that's cool.
Well, excited about tasting all of those. Also excited about tasting what I think are going to be some pretty cool beers this week from Akron, Ohio, and the Hoppin Frog Brewing Company. We've had a Hoppin Frog beer
Yes.
on the show before, but it's been a while. We're going to be trying their Smashing Strawberry Blonde Ale. So I'm looking forward to that. Just, tail into summer here, we can do another Strawberry Blonde
Right.
Ale. I'm really excited about it. And then from Anchorage, Alaska, an Anchorage Brewing Company will be trying their double IPA called I'm So Lost.
Ooh, I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah. So it comes in a black can. It's beautiful. Going to be nice. And then, and then from Denver, Colorado, and River North Brewing Company will be doing their Whiskey Barrel Quandary. It's a quadruple ale aged in whiskey
Oh,
barrels.
you had me at all of that.
Yeah, I figured we were headed in your direction. So we'll also be bringing you the most popular segment on the program, a thing that we do in the second hour called Drinking News. And today's Drinking News teaser headline is The Horror of the Uninvited House Guest.
I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, so that
Oh
one
my
should be
gosh.
fun. And then the other thing that has become, just found out this last weekend, that apparently this has become a thing on the show now that people are anticipating each week. Both of you, apparently. And it is the drinking fact. And we have today's drinking fact teaser. The perfect country and western song.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we'll get to that. We'll tell you about some cigars to watch for. And thanks to Cigar Aficionado, we're going to be able to talk to you about a dozen delicious cigars you should be smoking right now. And so that's something to look forward to. And just in time for Halloween, Sam Adams Beer is releasing a home seance craft brew kit. So I'm pretty stoked for that as well.
awesome.
Yeah, pretty stoked for that. So a lot of other things to talk about. I don't know how much we'll get to because we're going to be doing a lot of tasting, but I figure we might as well, speaking of tasting, go ahead and try today's funky looking
Oh.
I
substance.
cheated. I smelled it.
This
Oh,
It smells like a
pineapple.
this looks like a
No,
sample.
peach.
peach.
Looks
It smells
like
like
a
a
sample.
peach ring.
I'm not gonna say what kind of sample it
Just
looks
leave
like.
it in the
Sour
little,
style.
just leave it in the
Saying-
little metal
right, here we
cabinet.
go.
I'm just saying it looks like if you were at the doctor's and you were leaving a sample.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that. So.
But it smells like you had a lot of mint.
Oh, it smells very much
It's
like
got a little
peach.
minty and peach, but it's
Oh,
got a
Mint
little
and
mint
peach,
in
yes.
there.
faces
Mint
happening
and
over
peach.
here.
That was-
So you were the first to taste, and I don't think it went well.
No.
Roberto,
Oh,
your face and Danielle's face are telling
like
quite a
Here it goes
story.
straight to
Oh,
close up
that's
of them
awful.
right now if you're watching.
Oh goodness
It just keeps
gracious!
getting worse.
Wait
Yeah.
for it.
Keeps getting worse.
It's like
What
This-
what
it's
have you
really
done?
bad.
This is vile.
Oh,
Wow.
It really is. I mean, we've had some that you're like, yeah, they're okay, but the aftertaste is kind of funky. This is bad.
Who the hell approves these things on the I always think whenever I taste this kind of bad things, like who the hell approves these things?
No,
who would do
'cause
that?
somebody
Let's
went, yes,
try
this
to,
is
like,
the formula.
Let's release into the
Well,
wild.
because Roberto, you have done pre-made
Yeah.
cocktails, right? So this
Yeah.
is something you got some experience in, and I'm sure with each of them you have to, taste and go,
Exactly.
okay, this
Fun.
is good enough to
I mean,
to share with people.
You would think
right?
they have a panel or something that that yes, no.
I
They
want
used
to.
AI.
I want to apologize
Oh
to
my
Danielle
gosh.
because I think the last time she was on, we had a really bad beverage of mystery as well.
Yes.
So she-
I feel like this is a trend.
This may be her last
Almost
appearance on
wondering
Smoking and Toast, and she may
if
never
this
come
is
back.
done.
She's like, guys, I'm going to come in
Do
on
you
the
hate
third
me?
segment.
This is particularly bad.
This is
It
really
is. And what's
bad.
interesting,
Oh, it's
And I'm
awful.
the
What is
easiest on these things.
I was just about to say, when we've had some of these before, Ian and I will be like, nope. And Terry's like, well, I kind of like it. But no, in this case, it's unanimously thumbs down.
Horrific.
And so here it is. It's the second one we've had from Flying Embers, which, by the way, is a brewery. And they brew beer as well. And I
what
believe
were
we've
they
had some of their beer before, and it's not been bad. But this is their, and I'm sorry I smashed the can. This is their daiquiri.
And they're saying this is mango passion fruit.
Yeah,
you
there's
completely
mango
missed the
and
mark.
passion
on
fruit.
This is peach.
Tastes like peach.
And it's bad
10%. And it's just, honestly,
This
this
is like
may
in
be
a
one.
cartoon when you hear the shot ricochet. Pew! That's where that one went.
This may be one of the worst beverages of mystery I think
bad.
we've ever had.
Really
it is
bad.
It is
actively
terrible.
bad.
Really bad.
Actively
Yeah.
bad. And I have
Absolutely
a confession to make. Because we've had one of theirs on before, and it was in. I bought a 6-pack that had 2.
You have another one of these?
No. I bought a 6-pack that had 2 of 3 different Flying Embers pre-made cocktails. So I had actually tasted this before because I tried to drink the other one. I took 2 sips.
Try.
I took 2 sips and I poured it out. So I knew what I
I
was
took
bringing
2
in
sips
today.
and I thought, you know what I should do is bring this to Ian and Terry.
Yes,
because they
exactly,
should
exactly.
experience-
And let's see, when is Danielle going to be on again? Oh, good. This week will work.
Yeah, one more.
We have on occasion, Danielle, had actually good beverages of mystery.
I've watched your episodes
Okay,
and I've
all right.
seen that.
So now you're
I'm
feeling
starting to
even-
feel attacked
Yeah,
here.
you're
Like
feeling
it's
even
an
more
attack.
ganged up on. So.
I have a
Serious.
little bit of Malort left for next time she's on.
Oof.
Okay.
I had
No,
a
sir.
barrel, but
You'll
have you
never
tried
see
the
me
barrel
again.
aged?
Yeah.
Have I tried
I
the
have it.
barrel?
This is going from bad
I
to worse,
can't,
and
no.
we have to take a break. Thank God.
Definitely not me.
We will be right back at Smoking and Toasting.
Cleanse that palate.
Welcome back at Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Cigars, I said. I don't know
You got a lot
what's
going
with
on
me
today.
this week. And we barely even started drinking.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say, before we get into the drinking fact and Ian's cigar review, that today has been a long time coming. I've been planning and hoping for this day for a long time. I feel like I have now finally evened the score from when you malorted me for bringing in this really
That's awful.
terrible,
bad.
terrible.
Like it's
Yeah.
still haunting my taste
So the
bud.
the
It's still-
slate is
it
now
haunts my
Haunting my
palate.
taste.
the slate is now wiped clean. We can either choose to trust each other or not trust each other.
And I'm not talking about like one of them gentle ghosts on my palate. It's
Yeah.
like a poltergeist on my palate.
Exactly. No, it's awful.
It's actively
bad.
throwing things around.
There
on my
are
palate
very
right now.
few things, if you think about it, that we've tried ever on this show and 401 shows where we've all agreed that's terrible.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
So they should just stick to brewing beer.
Yeah,
Huh?
and
Like, let the
I gotta say
bartenders
the other
make the drinks.
the other tastes were not good enough to justify buying the 6-pack and just throwing these away.
Yikes.
They weren't good either.
Yeah.
They weren't this bad, but they weren't this good.
That is
Very
that
few
is a
things
special thing right
Are
there.
this
It's a
bad?
special
Gary.
level of terrible.
All right.
And now it's time for another smoking and toasting drinking fact.
You know, that fanfare is kind of like
So
the
good.
joke over and over. It doesn't get old either for me.
it's so
It just
good.
doesn't. It just
I love
doesn't.
it.
Our drinking fact for today, it's a very short one, but I think you guys will really be able to grab onto this. 1 in 5 top 100 country music songs refer to alcohol. 1 in 5.
I actually thought it was going to be more than that.
Yeah.
I thought it would
that
be
sounds
more.
low. Yeah.
Well,
That sounds low.
if
low.
if it was like multiple choice, if it was alcohol, t-shirts, or my truck,
And moms.
What about the dog?
that would have been. That's why I said.
I
the
can name a
girlfriend
few
stole.
of them off the top of my head. You got Whiskey River.
Yeah, yeah.
You got what's the one?
Chasing You by Morgan
They
Wallen.
say I have
Yeah.
a drinking problem, but I got no problem drinking
Yeah.
at all. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Tennessee whiskey.
Tennessee
Uh-huh.
whiskey.
Yeah.
What about
even Post Malone and Morgan Wallen? I had some help. That's like my favorite country
what's the
song
other
right
one
now.
where he goes? I tell myself that I should quit, but I don't listen to drunks.
What's that one that says
Such a great one.
nobody loves me like tequila does or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. When I taste tequila, Dan and Shay, that's a big one.
And You Proof by Morgan Wallen, another
Right,
Morgan
right.
Wallen, You Proof.
And my personal favorite, if you want to keep your beer real cold, put it next to my ex-wife's heart. That's
Damn.
That's one of my favorites. That's one of my favorites.
Sick burn.
I'm wondering if you've had the opportunity to smoke anything
I
interesting
did
this
actually.
week.
Me and my buddy Roberto here stopped at Stogie's this morning.
I love Stogie. We're going to be live at Stogie. Well, not live, but we're on location, recording
On location
at
next
Stogie's
week.
next
Yeah,
week.
I said hi to Jenny and
Jorge.
Jorge. Thank you. I'm totally blanked. And so told them we were going to be there. So I picked up the Alec Bradley Filthy Ghooligan.
Oh, yes, we talked about this.
Yes.
The Filthy Hooligan is the barber pole that comes out for St. Patrick's Day.
Right, they have two
But
versions.
this one
of it
is
St.
for
Patrick's Day. This
Halloween.
one's for Halloween. It's the
Yeah.
Filthy Ghooligan.
Nice.
Part of their black market series. This is the 6x50 Toro with an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, also with a U.S. broadleaf because it's the barber pole, so you have two different wrappers
Right.
on there. The binder is Indonesian Basuki. I have no idea what that is.
Wow.
Never heard of that.
But it sounds, sounds interesting. The
Sounds
filler
like
is
sounds like an
Nicaraguan.
anime show, Indonesian Basuki.
Nicaraguan filler from different regions in Nicaragua, Jalapa, Esteli, and Condega. The appearance on this barbershop pole wrapper so the other ones have a candela
Right, the
wrapper.
greenish. Yeah.
As part of it, so that it has that green color, and I think that's why they tie it in with the St. Patrick's Day. This one has brown.
So more of an
and
orange,
like a tanner
yeah.
kind of brown. Yeah. And then let's see, the leathery and
call it-
oily with veins, rustic texture, very firm feel overall. It's got the cool label on it with the ghosts and everything. It's pretty fun. The pre-light sniff on this, I got barnyard, I got earth, and I got leather. Pre-light draw, I used a punch. I had a medium draw, earthy and leathery with a hint of mocha. The initial light on this, I got a spooky blast of pepper and leather.
Oh, nice.
Gritty mocha and toast. Retrohale is spicy and chocolate. First third is gritty mocha and earth haunt the palate with sweet toast and pepper lurking in the background. Leather lingers on the lips. That was good alliteration right there.
I like it.
And the tip of the tongue. Retrohale is woody and chocolate with some spice. Solid ash, perfect burn. Pairing, I think funky Jamaican rum or a whiskey smash would
Nice.
go really
Oh,
well
nice,
with this.
yeah.
Something to stand up to the spice in this. Toast and leather creep up alongside gritty mocha and earth. A sweet nutty undertone begins to manifest with a distinctive cedar note. Retrohale is cedar and sweet toast. Solid ash, perfect burn. The last third of this cigar, a kiss of campfire and sweet peppers sneak in. The last third adding to the complex weave of flavors. Retrohale is cedar and sweet toast. Solid ash, perfect burn. I'm giving this at $14. It's an expensive one, but I'm giving it a solid 5.
Nice. Well,
'Cause it's
that
fun.
means it. It was really worth it. So that's
Yeah.
good.
If I smoke cigars, I definitely would want to smoke that one. That sounds delicious.
It sounds like a fun cigar too.
Yeah.
The flavors are fun. Like the way they kind of blend together was really nice.
All right. Well, we'll take a break and come back. I'll tell you what I smoked this week. And we'll begin our tasting. And as I mentioned, the first beer up to be tasted this week is a smashing strawberry blonde from Hoppin Frog Brewery. So we look forward to that. Welcome back, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Well, no, we can't do to children of all ages.
No.
Over 21. Over 21.
There you go.
Over 21.
That's right. And there are many. Trust me. Welcome back to the program. It's Smoking a Toast, and our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Ian is pouring some craft beer right now, which we're passing around, and then I will tell you about a hand-rolled cigar that I smoked this week. I smoked the Greycliff, Nicarágua BP Maduro Toro. I do not know what the BP stands for. I don't know if it's British Petroleum. I'm not sure. But but in any case, the Greycliff, Nicarágua, BP Maduro Toro. Now, based in Nassau, in the Bahamas, the Greycliff Cigar Company is part of the Greycliff luxury brand, which includes a very expensive Bahamas hotel, chocolate, and cigars. Now, I used to almost never smoke a Greycliff as they were priced kind of like Davidoffs, which I just said Davidoff means I owe somebody
You
some
now
money,
owe
right?
them $50.
Yeah, I believe so. Are we?
Did you use it twice in a sentence?
Just once?
Okay, well, so twice in a sentence is $50.
Okay. Anyway, that's what I used to kind of equate Greycliffs with, which is to say overpriced and not really worth the cash. Recently, though, perhaps because they didn't really sell all that well at those inflated prices, or maybe just because the company wanted to rebrand to a spot where they could be a more consistent choice with the majority of cigar smokers, they are now priced more competitively, and they've created new blends that are a little bolder, like the Nicarágua BP Maduros. The cigar is nice looking, as you'll see here, slightly box pressed and a deep chocolate brown. From everything I could find out about it, which admittedly was not a whole lot, it appears to be a Nicaraguan puro, which means all the tobacco in it's from Nicaragua. And as I'll tell you, it pretty much smoked like one. Pre-light sniff was earthy, along with a very pleasant sweetness to the fermented tobacco note. Made me a little excited about the smoking experience to come. I used my new V-cutter. Thank you, Mary, for the awesome birthday gift. And I opened it up. When I did, the cold draw gave me leather, toasted nuts, and a hint of pepper. So I went ahead and toasted a foot of the cigar to get things started. And within a few puffs, I was once again greeted by our old friend with the terrible song, the NPB, the Nicaraguan Pepper Blast.
MPB makes me feel fine. Okay, that's enough.
Thank you for stopping there. You don't know how
I
much.
can't say the next line. It's so ridiculous that I can't say it.
It's ridiculous in the original song, too.
Yes.
That's why I hate the original song so much.
And for
Oh,
those
no.
of you
I just
who,
want to
who
hear
don't
it
know
now.
what it is,
You have to say it.
It's blowing through the jasmine in my mind.
Yeah. That's just
You hate that?
that's almost as bad
That makes
as The Horse with No Name by America.
That makes Dio lyrics make sense.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You know, when he says ride the tiger, you can see his stripes, but you know he's clean. Like that, it kind of makes sense after you hear something that ridiculous.
After 9 days in the desert sun, I was looking at a riverbed. Ooh, impress me with your lyrical greatness, please.
You crushing on America.
The
Oh,
blast
man.
settled down pretty quickly, though, although I could tell that pepper was going to be an ongoing component of the flavor profile of the Greycliff Nicarágua. In addition to the pepper, I picked up hints of black coffee, toasted almonds, and a fruitiness that I'm going to call fig, even though it could have just been a dried fruit note. Fig was what jumped into my mind, so I'm going to go with that. One thing of note is that, as you'll see in this picture, loose tobacco from the cap started unraveling during the first third. And if you're watching video of the show, you'll see that always concerns me when this happens to a cigar, because sometimes when you try to pull that off and get rid of it, it can lead to the cigar continuing to unravel all the way down. Fortunately, in this case, I was able to pull it off with no further peeling and get back to the business of enjoying the smoke. The second third of the cigar blossomed out a little bit in terms of the flavor profile. I got a smoked meat note that took the cigar from the first third's sweetness to much more of a savory profile, still with the pepper, almost like a beef jerky sample that you get from the guy behind the jerky counter at Buc-ee's while you pretend that you don't already know which jerky you're going to buy. And so you keep asking the dude for sample after sample of the other kinds. Just me? Okay. Anyway, there were also hints of oak and a slightly hotter pepper, maybe cayenne or habanero, along with the more typical black pepper. Final third ramped up the spice even further, and the meatiness continued, making me think of a char-grilled steak with some kind of hot pepper sauce on the side. This is the kind of cigar you might want to smoke after you've eaten a hearty steak dinner. It's not really a before breakfast kind of cigar. Other than the strand of loose cap tobacco, the construction was pretty much flawless. No burn issues, perfect draw, and a reasonably straight burn line all the way down to the nub. Strength started out medium after the pepper blast, but grew exponentially as I smoked the Greycliff, which allowed me to use the word exponentially, which I feel like makes me sound kind of
That's a good
smart.
word.
I love that word.
I wound up.
It's a lot of syllables.
Wound up being very much full-bodied by the final third. I'm not sure what it means, but it seemed to fit the sentence. So, my pairing suggestion, by the way, would be a great porter like a Deschutes Black Butte porter or any really good coffee stout. I had it with my usual salted caramel iced tea, and that worked out splendidly as well. The Greycliff Nicarágua BP Maduro Toro, which is easy for me to say, wasn't my favorite Nicaraguan cigar by any means, and to be honest, I didn't find many places on the web to buy them. I got mine from Cigar Page, and here's the thing. I paid about $4 per stick.
I don't
for
think
a
I've
10-pack.
ever seen a
For a Toro.
Greycliff in a store.
Oh, I have, and they're usually like wildly expensive, or at least they used to be, which is why I never really
I've
smoked
been
them.
to Cigars International, and they have the Greycliffs there. But the only places I've really seen them is CI and Cigar Page.
Well, if you can land these at that price, $4 a stick, you're going to be a pretty happy camper. At $4 each, I'd put price to quality as 6.5.
Wow, nice.
I'm not sure you could do better at that price point at $4. In fact, I almost wish I hadn't revealed the price, because then I could give Ian some of these for Christmas, and he'd probably think I splurged a little bit. But he's going to know now. Oh yeah, that's a $4 cigar.
When I started smoking cigars, I used to get the Gurkha Beast and the Gurkha Beauties.
Yes.
They used to sell like a 5-pack of each in like as a bundle, pretty inexpensive, and I enjoyed those a lot.
I used to enjoy smoking Gurkha cigars a lot, and then they all started exploding on me.
They started falling apart when you smoke them. They're pretty bad.
Like, in the cartoons when they give somebody a cigar and they light it.
Bangs.
That's what the Gurkhas were like. So, Ian, you poured this strawberry blonde.
Have you nosed this?
Not yet, no. But
It's got
This
an
smells
insanely yummy nose.
amazing.
yeah, let me take you
smells so good.
down because I'm
With
going
strawberries and cream.
soon.
It's strawberries and cream.
Like, yeah, it smells so good. It's strawberries and cream, 100%. Yeah.
So when I was a kid in high school, our marching band used to march in the Poteet Strawberry Festival Parade,
Poteet.
which was awesome because at the end of the parade, we would all get strawberry shortcakes for free.
Oh, nice.
And that's what this reminds
That's
me of, the
worth it.
smell.
This
that's taking
is
me back.
actually pretty darn good.
Yeah.
This is really,
It is
really,
pretty good.
really yummy. I
Agreed.
kinda-
Good job hopping
it's
for
my
a
kind of
strawberry
beer.
blonde.
It tastes just like it smells, doesn't it?
Ale
delicious.
with natural flavor added, coming in at 5.2%.
I don't like the with natural flavor added.
Yeah, that
I don't like that.
Yeah.
that reminds me of like high C fruit drink.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that could also be like chopped up strawberries tossed in the
true.
bin, you know.
Strawberry puree.
Crisp and refreshing
That's
with a
not gonna be
splash
what
of
it is.
strawberry flavor to add great taste.
Natural flavors whenever they add some artificial flavor.
That came from something natural at one time.
Artificially
Trying
added
too
natural
hard.
flavor.
Yeah. Well, so what is a natural flavor versus an artificial flavor?
It says it's simply smashing.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
though. Yeah, it's good. I
Tastes really good.
I kind of dig it. If you're looking for that last gasp of summer and you want to drink a beer that seems like it's
I think this would make a
summertime.
really great shandy.
Oh yeah, I think it would.
Like,
You're absolutely right.
I would love to play with a little bit of
I
a.
want a cologne that smells like this.
Yeah,
I
I
would
know.
smell delicious.
Everybody just want to have a strawberry shortcake.
Remember-
You're sitting in the room.
Remember, this is back when I was like a teenager, but there used to be this shampoo, and the advertising pitch for it was, "Gee, your hair smells terrific."
I remember that.
Yeah. So,
Like,
so this could be like
the
"Gee,
ads
Ian,
were
you
like
smell,
the person
you smell
in the
amazing."
elevator smelling the
Yeah,
person's
yeah.
hair,
Which is so
kind of creepy.
Yes.
Yeah, because
So-
now when your president does it, it's really bad. Then Dana Carvey makes money even on Saturday Night Live for it.
Listen, Dana Carvey, his George W. Bush used to annoy, or his George Bush Sr. rather,
Senior.
used to really annoy me because it was just so caricaturish and like, oh, come on, you could do a better impression than that. But his Joe Biden is so spot on. You have to watch the cold opens on.
It was good
Saturday
this
Night
time
Live,
too.
for
You know,
this
also,
season.
can I just put in there, because I've been a fan of Saturday Night Live my whole time. If I have to read another article about how Saturday Night Live is over or at the end or having problems, it's 50 years old.
Yeah.
It's older than the person writing than the article. I'm going to come to your house and punch you in the face because you can't say that about something that's the
older.
oldest comedy show on television.
It's older than The Simpsons, you know?
Yes,
yeah.
it's
I mean,
older.
that's
Dude, we just had our first official Terry rant.
yeah.
Yes.
I love this.
My God, show number 401, ladies and gentlemen.
exactly.
Yeah. And
No,
it took criticism of Saturday Night Live to do
to
it.
make
Just so
it
you know.
happen, to
Just
drive
so
me
you know.
nuts.
Just so you know. Hey, there certainly are episodes that are better than others, no question.
Well, but that's how it works.
yeah.
And you know, it's perfect for today's media. YouTube, 3 to 5 minute
right.
skits. That's what it makes.
I never watch it. I watch the clips on YouTube.
Exactly. And it produces movie stars. I
Yeah,
mean, you know, they're not
absolutely.
going to stop it. So people just stop that.
Right. And
Nonsense.
and so now we're referring to Rob Schneider as a movie star. I don't know. that may be a bit much. But Terry, I've lost all track of time. Do we need to go to break?
Oh, no, we're good. We're good. Yeah.
All right. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit, Danielle, about this new release that we're going to be sampling later on. The Angel's Envy Triple Oak. Obviously, it's matured, but each batch of this bourbon is matured in 3 separate oak barrels. Is that correct?
Secondary matured.
Secondary
in three,
matured.
in 3 separate oak barrels.
Okay.
Yes.
So how long does it rest in each one?
So that's not something that our master distiller Owen Martin wants to really talk about, because that happens like very relatively because of a consistency thing. Sometimes if it's aging at the top of the rick house and there's more sunlight coming in, there's going to be more evaporation. It's going to be a faster age, right? But if it's like in the bottom corner of it and it's in a really cold place and it doesn't have a lot of room to do the angel share, the evaporation process, then it's going to need a little bit more time to really take on the oak. So there's no real time limit that he does. It's basically a very
he gets to
intuitive
go out and
process.
taste it?
I mean, he is drinking. I think he drinks more whiskey than God, probably. But yeah, he has to, it's all about his intuition. I mean, he does do the dates and all the analytical things, but it's really just about what he knows.
But he's basically blending it
for
to
tasting,
taste, is what you're
yes.
saying. Not
Absolutely,
to a
yes.
specific age statement for each
For
one.
each different one, yes.
Have you? Do you think, Ian, that it's been better or not as good for the whiskey industry as more and more brands have moved away from age statements and moved towards things like this, where it's like, you know what, this is blended to taste and it's matured to taste?
I think with some of the fun ways to age whiskey, like the Oceans from Jefferson, where they put it on a ship and let it roll around for, less time than it would take to get those same flavors out of the same barrels.
It's really romantic at the very least, right?
It is, it's fun.
very,
and then what about like Texas whiskeys where they quote unquote age more rapidly just due to the weather flux that we have here, which is vastly different from what it is in Kentucky
or Scotland.
Right. So like I think that the age statement thing, we used to put a whole lot of store on the age statement where, okay, if it was older, it was obviously better. But I think getting away from that, I mean, still Austin is putting out incredible whiskeys and they're brand new.
Yeah.
Like they're, it's amazing.
I do want to clarify that all of our bourbon starts being aged from 4 to 6 years in new charred oak barrels, no matter what.
Right.
So what we're talking about, as far as not putting those concrete age statements on this, is saying how many months after we take it, how many months it's finished in each of those barrels, right? Because no matter what, we put that age statement on all of your Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
Sure, and I understand that there has to be a certain amount of aging in order to qualify as
sir.
that.
Right.
Absolutely.
But what I was really referring to is that it seems like it's become less of the selling point
Right.
of a particular bourbon or whiskey than it used to be. Still, I would say with single malt Scotch, it's probably a thing. I read, and apologize that I don't remember. I read this week that some Scottish distillery is coming out with a 51 year.
Yeah.
It's going to be like the oldest. Did you read that as well?
No, but I mean, I've seen a few 50 estate.
So
The oldest I've ever tasted was that Ladybird 42.
Okay.
And I've heard it stated that pretty much after that,
Well, that's
you
what I
start
wanted to
losing
ask.
so much character that it's not worth it.
Well, that's
But
what I wanted
don't
to
know.
ask. The oldest I've had, I think, is the Balvenie 31, and it was fantastic. But is it true that somewhere not too long after that, the whiskey starts to lose its character?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's only so much oak you want to have in your
Right.
and caramel and vanilla and
Yeah, I mean, you leave it in there long enough, you're just going to end up with a paste at the bottom of the barrel.
Facts. Yeah.
Paste tastes good.
yeah.
That would be a whole new category. Whiskey paste. You buy it in just
Whiskey paste.
little tubs with a screw off top, and you just stick your
Instant
finger in.
whiskey, you just
Cologne.
add a little
200
water.
years.
Yeah,
200 years. Right. Yeah. You just put a little drop of water in it. And then,
or they could sell it like they do it, where they have the
Powdered-
the thing of crackers with the little thing of
powdered
manufactured
whiskey.
cheese. You know, that could be the
Powdered
whiskey
whiskey.
paste, and then you could have maybe some saltines.
That's whiskey Lunchables.
Now that's an idea whose time may have come. Whiskey Lunchables. I like it. And then you could branch out. You could do rum, and you could do tequila. and mezcal.
Look what we've done. You know what we haven't done yet? We haven't tasted this Angel's Envy today.
Well,
Okay.
do we have time still in this?
Should do it in the next. Yes,
We'll do it in the next segment. So maybe we will. Let's start though with the regular bourbon.
Although I absolutely love your enthusiasm about opening up the bottle.
Yeah, I do,
don't
and we will totally. I'm very excited to get there. Also, a little trepidatious because the plastic is still
I know.
on
I
here, and that
completely
can
blew
sometimes
huh?
be a health issue. But we'll be careful, and
survive
we'll
it.
be back. It's Smoking and Toasting.
We want to talk about how good that guitar tone is.
Yeah,
I just love it.
the tone is good. I think the note's a little flat.
Come on.
Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Danielle Gray is our guest. She's from Angel's Envy. And I think, by the way, Danielle, you may be the guest who has come back to the show the fastest, who's not named Alan Denny, that we've ever had, because it was only about a month ago that we had you on.
About a month ago.
And you had such a good time that you went to Angel's Envy and said, you guys got to release something new because I need to go back
Right.
That's
on
right.
Smoking
Yes.
and Toasting. And we
Yes.
appreciate
That's
them.
exactly how it happened.
We appreciate them
Exactly
responding
what I did.
with
Yeah.
such a
With
good
the quickness.
Yeah, with such
With the
speed.
quickness.
We like that. So you poured for us, and thank you, by the way, for a very nice, generous pour of this. This is the original Angel's Envy. This
And
is the one you
it's
can find pretty much
brilliant.
everywhere. It's Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, finished in port wine barrels. Remind me the retail price of that bottle approximately.
Well, I usually pay around $50 for it, but Total Wine seems to be like on a thing, and I just saw it on their shelf for $39.
Wow.
$39.
Pick
So
that up for 39. That's
I
a
was
deal.
like,
Yeah.
okay, that's
That's
new.
a deal.
That's
this
cool.
This is just such a wonderful cinnamon caramel. It's
Bubblegum.
so agreeable. You know what I mean?
So
by
many
that?
wonderful things
Yeah,
happening in here.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a beautiful expression. Yeah, this is definitely a thing to have
And I will mention, by the way,
on your whiskey shelf.
yeah, I will mention, by the way, the Angel's Envy finished rye, because Ian got me some of that as a gift a couple of Christmases ago, and that was probably, until that bottle was empty, that was probably my favorite bottle on my shelf. It just was that good. That good.
Yeah, no, it's a vibe. Everybody loves
yeah.
the rye.
Yeah, definitely. So you got these two going for you, and then obviously you've come now with the triple oak. But
So the triple oak starts with this, right?
Yes.
this is the juice, right?
Well, all of it starts exactly the same.
Right. It's all the same distillate. Okay.
So-
now, is the triple oak? This is finished in port wine cask. So is the triple oak this that's already finished in port wine cask and then put into the
Nope.
okay,
It's the same. It's all the same bourbon, right? The Kentucky straight bourbon, aged 4 to 6 years in new white oak or American white oak barrels, and then this travels over to the port wine barrels. They're about
Gotcha.
59 gallons. They're gigantic barrels, and then we take this distillate and divide it up into 3 different oak barrels: Hungarian, Chinkapin, and French Limousine, and each gets aged a certain amount of time to taste, and then blended back together. So finished in those barrels.
A little bit of a crazy question, and this might be one of those things where you just got to ask the person that's actually making this. Does it matter the order of the barrels?
I couldn't think that it would, but I definitely don't.
I would think
have
that it might.
answer.
That
You think
that aging in one after you've aged in the other versus flipping that around might produce different results.
But
What
I
do you
think, but I think it's a blend, right? They don't get.
is a blend.
Yeah, it's a blend. So they age them separately in these barrels,
And then they
Oh,
blend
okay.
it together.
Blend all
Yeah.
So it's
three.
not-
Okay.
So in this process,
Right, so
I
it's not
think
one
the,
barrel
the
moved to the
natural
next barrel,
answer.
moved to the next.
Okay, I was
Right.
misunderstanding.
It's
I
three
thought
separate
you
barrels.
were.
Yes.
I thought we were moving the same liquid to the 3 different barrels.
Right.
No. It's a
Okay.
blend of 3 different kinds of barrels.
And I will just mention that French limousine barrels sound awesome.
It does sound-
That's got to be either a really, really expensive
It just
barrel
sounds rock star.
or a really
It's the most
bad
expensive
70s
barrel.
dance pop group.
Yeah,
You know?
no, it's the most expensive barrel in the world.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the most sought after oak in the world, and they're
Yeah.
pretty protective over it.
And it was Giorgio Moroder's first band, the French Limousine.
French limousine.
So this just your regular. It's almost hard to imagine how you could improve on this because it's just so like basically wonderful, you know?
And
Right.
it comes at a great proof already itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of the bottle.
Yeah, that's the sweet spot. So when he was distilling it, he thought, and Lincoln Henderson, he did this for 40 years. We talked about it last time. He was the founder of, or the distiller behind Gentleman Jack Single Barrel, and Woodford Reserve. And so,
Which are
he-
all delicious.
Yeah, he
Right.
knew what he was
That's a great-
doing.
that is-
So
yeah.
he definitely knew what he was doing, and he's just an icon. So, I mean, he wanted to do this, all these little projects at Brown-Forman before he retired, but they just didn't let him do it. So we share the same mash bill as actual Woodford Reserve, actually.
That's
so.
cool. That is really cool. Well, again, and another great
If
whiskey.
you ever
So-
get a chance to go to the distillery too, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's
Yeah, interesting,
fantastic.
because you've been
yeah.
there, right?
And it's,
Yeah,
it's right on Main Street in Louisville, Kentucky. We're the first
It's right by the
people.
ballpark too, right?
Yeah, the Louisville Slugger Museum
Yeah.
is right across the street. And
big bat.
yeah, we're the first we're the first people or brand to build a distillery right on whiskey roast since Prohibition. So we're leading the category in a very many things.
Wow.
And Angel's Envy Bourbon is actually @1 ultra premium bourbon in the world since 2019. And I think in 2018 we were #2. So and now at $38 or $39 on the shelves at
That's
Total
outrageous.
Wine, it's insanity to know that it's so accessible, and that it's ultra premium.
It's so delicious.
and it stands right next to the E.H. Taylors and the Pappies and all of that. It owns a space right up shoulder to shoulder
if
with
this
all
was
of those.
hard
so.
to find, it would be outrageous on secondary.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And the whole difference is that it's not hard to find. You can get it pretty much
Everywhere.
anywhere.
And
I love
that's
that.
something that we owe them a great deal of thanks
Yes.
for, because there are so many, you think of something like Blanton's. I mean, that is a damn fine whiskey.
It is.
But I'm just so tired of the overpricing
Not for
on it because it's
secondary
hard
price.
to find. That
I'm
secondary
tired of
price is
walking
ridiculous.
into stores that have those things.
Yeah.
And
And
have
the
them marked.
store has them marked to secondary.
To
We have them
Yeah,
over there
it's
in the
outrageous.
register.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Right. And it makes me seek other
Other stores.
expressions. When I can buy this for $40, between $40 and $50,
Yeah.
why would I bother with that?
I agree.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to want to hold on to some in your glass because we're going to be getting to the triple oak. And when we do, you're going to want to
So
kind of
difficult.
Side by
do
side.
these side by side
Yeah.
and see
really
what you
fun.
think.
You
So-
guys put me through the worst things in this world.
I know.
How
Well,
unlucky are you?
just don't get too comfortable because I got more flying embers to
Oh,
offer.
yeah,
if you,
I have some of this left
yeah.
if anyone wants it.
We'll be right
That's
back.
the bar shot. We got to put it all
It's
together.
Smoking and toasting.
The Matt Dillon.
Welcome back, my friends. This is Smoking and Toasting. I was waiting for that. I thought it would be good punctuation.
You know how when you open a beer, you get a little bit of a spritz sometimes?
Yeah.
So I'm looking over at my ukulele, and there's little spritzes of beer.
We talked about this one last time too.
Yeah, I saw a video, one of my musical heroes, Chris Christopherson, passed away recently, and it got me to watching some old videos on YouTube of The Highwaymen, which was Chris Christopherson, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and
Merle Haggard?
yeah, it was Christopherson. Anyway, what was funny was that Christopherson was playing this beautiful electric guitar, and Waylon Jennings was playing this star-studded, just beautifully put together acoustic guitar. And Willie Nelson had his old beat-up guitar that's like his one that some of the wood is missing. You imagine that's had some beer splattered on it in its life. Is what I was getting to, and it's part of the character, I think.
It definitely has to.
Johnny Cash. Thank you.
It has to help the sound of it.
And Johnny Cash was playing this glossy black acoustic.
It's
guitar.
had so much interior reconstructive surgery as well.
Oh, has it?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure. Well, you're the guy that knows about guitar construction, so I would.
And I actually have. I actually have at my house a full size blueprint
I like it.
of that guitar.
So our
it
guests
where the
are
holes are
already
bored?
loving this beer.
Yeah.
It's already amazing. Yeah.
This is just to give a little. We've had
smells
probably at least half a dozen, maybe more, of Anchorage Brewing Company's beers on the show over its history, and they honestly. They're so good at the IPA that they come out with so many different takes on it, and they really have all been pretty good to amazing.
Their art, it's always by the same artist, Massive Face.
The can is really cool.
and their art is always brilliant.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
It's called I'm So Lost. That's the name of the IPA.
Love it.
And it's a double, and Anchorage Brewing Company is, of course, from Anchorage, Alaska.
So you said Anchorage earlier, and I was excited because I was like, what do they do in Alaska besides like make beer and find fish,
Craft, right?
like
Bear hunting.
like craft beer and find fish and go bear hunting. Like they've got to be really good at beer.
You've watched the latest episode, the latest season of True Detective, the one with Jodie Foster?
Oh, I'm watching it.
Yeah,
right
okay.
now, actually.
It's really, really good. I won't give anything away. But Alaska is almost like a character. It's so bleak and dark and depressing. And it surprises me, even in a city like Anchorage, that you've got this kind of like innovation going on with the brewery.
So good.
This beer is.
I mean,
they've
they don't
got
have much to do up there, right?
Ingredients.
So,
Technology.
Water, hops, malt, and yeast.
no
I mean,
natural
that's
flavors.
it. I love it. No
So they're
natural
kind of
flavors,
like
right?
Brewed with Citra and Citra Incognito, double dry hopped with Simcoe.
This
And
is a fantastic
so good.
IPA.
It
It's
finishes
gorgeous.
so
Juicy.
well.
There's some really yummy malty notes
Yeah.
to it. It's just like really
Sweetness.
And I
Yeah,
just
I
want
love
to point
it.
out, you're not an IPA person.
big. I'm not, but I love it.
Ian is not as much of an IPA person as I am, although we've had a number that you've liked. But this
is
is
brilliant.
about as balanced and beautiful
It is.
as you could get.
And I think
for a
that
hazy.
malty quality that you talk about makes it taste a little bit like pineapple, but like with honey, pineapple kind of.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
it's got a sweetness to it, but not a cloying sweetness.
It's just a taste of sweet
natural
honey. You know what
right?
I mean?
It's kind of like the sweetness that you get when you bite into a citrus fruit. You know, that's not a lemon, but lemons can be sweet too.
Yeah.
Oh, and it plays well with whiskey.
I was just about to offer my opinion on that. It certainly does. I'll mention, by the way, just for anyone trying, one of the drinks that I've been making is what I call the lemon drop de la Cruz, which is basically just basically it's almost like a gimlet, except it uses lemon instead of lime. So, and my wife likes it, so I make it every once in a while. So I was down at the store the other day, and I saw what they looked beautiful. They were called sweet lemons. I thought, oh, I bet this would be good in the lemon drop de la Cruz. It wasn't.
What was it?
Not so much,
They were too sweet. You need the tartness of that lemon because I also put a little simple syrup in, and it's the balance of that sweet and the tart that makes that makes the drink, whether it's a gimlet or the lemon drop de la Cruz. That's what makes it work.
That's the
is
number one rule in
juxtaposition.
making cocktails is that balance has to
Right.
be there. The reason why
Exactly.
classics are classics and they've been around for so long is because number one, they're balanced.
And
Even
I'm
if
not
you
a
don't like them,
cocktail
you can say
guy.
that they're balanced.
I always balance my whiskey drinks.
Yes, I know.
Sometimes
He doesn't
With your
steal it.
cigars.
Yeah, piece of ice. Yeah.
You know what's something really cool about what Danielle mentioned about balancing cocktails? I feel like a lot of, and because she's a great bartender, I know her. She's an amazing bartender. If you guys didn't know that, but the classics come from really old cocktail books where they were making syrups and heavy syrups very heavy. They were like sometimes even 3-to-1. And these days, people don't know how to adapt those recipes to modern.
Right.
A lot of places do 1-to-1 syrups, which I would never encourage anybody to do because it's not shelf stable. But
if he starts talking about draft lines, we're going to just shut the show down. But no, because we had that happen once and it went on and on and on. But no, you know what? This has given me an idea, Ian. Usually for Christmas, we do a cocktail show.
Oh, that would be so fun.
What if sometime like early December, we just got several different cocktail people on? Roberto, you can come on. We could get some of our other cocktail.
Sign me up. I want to come
Chris
on.
Morris. Yeah, you can come on, and each of you make one holiday cocktail.
that would be
That'd
amazing.
be
That would
so
be an
Compare
amazing
and
show.
contrast.
So
Wouldn't that be
amazing.
fun?
Yeah.
Because cocktails
Super
just,
fun.
I mean,
Yes.
for holiday parties and stuff, cocktails just seems very appropriate.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
That sounds great.
I'm excited.
All right, we'll be getting with you about the date. We'll be maybe one of the first shows in December.
Sorry, I'm thinking it through, and that's going to be an amazing show.
All right, that'll
Super
be
exciting.
great fun, and you're all invited. And if you're a cocktail person we haven't had on the show, you want to volunteer, you got a good one you want to come make, go for it. We'll bring you on. So there's room. We can set up cocktail stations around the studio here.
Damn.
We could also. I mean, maybe I should talk to Square Keg and see if they'll send us a few things we can batch.
That would
these
be cool,
things.
yeah.
Oh, that'd be kind of
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
How fun would that be? I'm excited.
I am liking this idea. I'm digging from whence you're rapping, as they say. Wanted to share this with you guys since we have a moment left in this, and we're going to come to the Triple Oak, but I thought maybe we should do that after drinking news. So,
Okay.
so I wanted to share this with you. It's gotten to the point where almost every week there's a new celebrity spirit
Yeah.
that's released,
Yeah.
and so we talk about them here on the show, and some of them are actually pretty good. Some of them are proper number 12.
Yeah.
So they just it doesn't mean that a spirit is good just because it has a celebrity attached to it, but there are some good celebrity spirits. So I came across this list from a website called tastingtable.com, and they picked what they believe are the 20 best celebrity spirits.
Okay.
So I wanted to
Okay.
share
I'm
these.
interested in this one.
I wanted to
interested.
share this with you guys,
Let
and you
it
can
rip.
chime in
The
and tell me.
20 best celebrities.
Yeah.
Let's
And
do
I don't
this.
believe they're in a particular order, but here are the 20. The first one is Matthew and Camilla McConaughey's Pantalones Tequila. Have you
I haven't tried it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, I've
haven't
actually
tried it.
heard good things about it.
Yeah.
I haven't had it. We should definitely do that one very soon on the show.
It's funny that it's called Pantalones.
Ryan Reynolds Aviation Gin.
That's a great gin.
Great gin.
It is a good gin. All right.
great gin.
I like
Fabulous
Ryan
gin.
Reynolds. So how about Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul's Dos Hombres Mezcal?
That's a good
One of my
mezcal.
favorite.
You've had?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really? So
one of
you
my
both had
favorites.
this?
Yeah.
So
And
I
I've
picked
done
the
work
right
with
time
them.
to do this
Yeah.
list.
That's right.
Yeah, I love Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul,
Yeah.
and I've started to really appreciate mezcal these
Oh, that
days.
Dos
so.
Hombres is
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've done some work with them too, so they're great people to
All
work
right.
with.
How about Mark Wahlberg's Flecha Azul Tequila?
Oh, Flecha Azul, no.
Am I saying it wrong? Is it Flecha Azul?
Flecha, like arrow.
Flecha Azul. But you're saying no to Mr. Wahlberg.
Sorry, Mr. Wahlberg. But I do like Mr. Wahlberg.
Yeah, I like him too. How about Michael Bublé's Fraser and Thompson whiskey? Have you had that?
Never heard of them.
Never heard of
Yeah.
that.
All right. Well,
I haven't
Michael
heard of
Bublé.
it.
We're gonna have to.
I like
We're gonna have to be
Bublé.
on-
He's cool.
We're gonna have to be on the lookout for these. Now, here's where I call. So far, I'm okay with this list, but then we get to this entry. Conor McGregor, proper 12.
You just
Yeah.
said it. It's either good or it's proper 12. So
Right.
They included that as a good.
It says 20 of
They
the
sure
best,
did.
and they're not
Yeah.
ranked in order.
Well, I
But
mean,
it kind of makes me think they're just saying 20 celebrity spirits.
I would-
Yeah,
not 20
because
of the
that's.
best. Yeah.
yeah, no.
I mean, I don't know if you've had it.
I wouldn't say it's terrible, but it's not definitely good.
I would almost say it's terrible.
Really.
Would you,
It's-
Ian? Would you go that far?
It's one of those things where once you take a sip, if you start thinking about it too much, it's hard to stop finding things that are wrong with it.
Yeah.
If you don't think about it too much, it's not undrinkable, but it's not good.
It is not. It's not nothing that I would.
Rachel Ray?
Okay, yeah. So now we
What?
moved. Now we moved to the
I
next
don't know
one,
who she is.
What
which
the heck?
which I've never had, but I won't try it on principle because she's just absolutely disgusting. Rachel Ray's Staple Gin.
Shots
What's wrong
fired.
with Rachel Ray?
Oh my God!
I
Are
don't
you
even
kidding?
know who
Have you
she is.
watched her?
No.
Then you have no business asking the question. What's wrong?
Now I feel
Well,
like
if
I
you
need
don't
to
like
Google
her, why
this
are
when
you
I'm
Now
out
I got to
here.
figure out what's going on
I've
here.
watched her just
Get
enough.
to the bottom of
I've watched her
this.
just enough to know I don't ever want to watch her again.
She's branched way out into dog food and is
Yeah.
real big in dog food. So of course,
Yeah.
spirits would
She
be
should
the
be
next
making
one.
gin.
My ex-wife used to watch her. Oh, awful.
I see what's happening.
Sammy Hagar and Guy
That's
Fieri's
what's happening.
Sammy Hagar and Guy Fieri's Santo tequila.
That's
We have
a really
had-
good tequila.
We have had that tequila on the show before, and we liked it, as I recall. And Sammy did a pretty good job the first time around.
Yeah,
Cabo
the
Wabo.
Sold Cabo Wabo, and then had money to invest in a whole new one. And they are also doing a sort of a tequila mezcal combination drink as well.
Really?
Combination spirit, which we'll have to try here on the show as well. All right, Adam Levine and Behate Prinsloo, which that's his girlfriend / wife, I believe. It's their Calarosa tequila.
Never.
We've actually had this on the show.
Oh no, I know who
And
that
I
is.
think
Yeah,
I think we liked it, but I had no idea it was Adam
I didn't know
Levine
anything
from
about
Maroon
it, yeah.
5. Yeah,
it's a big. It's a gimmick.
it's a gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gimmick.
How about Sammy Hagar's Beach Bar Rum?
I haven't tried that one.
I have. I thought it was pretty good. It was more like a mixing rum, than a sipping rum, but I thought it was pretty good for.
Well, I mean, it's aptly named then,
We're
right?
just going to say
All right.
0% chance either one of us are going to support this thing right here. I promise you that's what's happening.
so George Clooney and Rondé Gerber's Casamigos.
Oh my god. I can tell you guys
so talk to me.
So
Why is
bad.
this bad?
because you want
So there's probably all sorts of glycerin.
Apparently, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, there's probably
This-
all sorts of glycerin and
vanilla.
So you're telling
and
me this is not 100% blue agave?
it's it
well,
is
it
blue.
is. Yeah, I'm sure
So,
it is.
but there's this thing about 100% blue agave. It has to be 50% agave in tequila. That's 100%.
Yeah. So
Okay, so that really-
it's
Nothing
just-
confusing.
it's
That leaves
really-
a lot of percentage room for
So
other
you
things.
Yeah.
in a tequila you can slap in that bottle tequila 100% if you at least have 50%.
50%.
Yeah.
And-
of agave, right?
And I
Blue
don't know
Weber.
exactly the production process of it, but the flavor it just leaves that very astringent, very like as if there's a lot of vanilla or glycerin or something put in it. I have a fun story real quick. My bartender accidentally made too many shots and then she handed me one. She's like, well, we better drink them. And then I drank it. I was like, oh my God, what did you
Yeah.
just give me? And she was like, Casamigos. And I was like, yes,
I
I
call it-
know I hate Casamigos.
I call it casa trash.
As the music
That's
is playing
trash.
us out here, what about Brad Pitt's The Gardener Gin?
Never heard of it.
Chris Stapleton's Traveler Whiskey we've had on the show here. It's not bad, not better than Buffalo Trace.
I could open a can of worms about that one too, but it's
And Metallica's Blackened American Whiskey.
that's good.
That's a good one.
Oof.
Yeah, it really is. Oh,
That's David Pickrell's whiskey actually.
yes, and we can't leave without this one. Dwayne The Rock Johnson's Terramana Tequila.
Horrible.
Have you had it?
Yeah, it's horrible.
I that doesn't surprise me, but that's just because it's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And finally, Dan Aykroyd's Crystal Head Vodka. I love Dan Aykroyd. I love the skull. The vodka's not very
I
much.
just can't take anybody seriously that makes vodka.
Not a vodka gal.
We will
And
on
he
that
was a
note.
bartender too, actually, by
Yeah,
the
it's
way.
fun.
Yeah. On that note, we'll take a break and we'll be right back. It's
Here
Smoking and
comes the
Toasting.
tales of the cocktail. I'm heavy-handed today.
I like those ghost notes.
I like heavy-handed. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Angel's Envy in the house today, along with our guest, Danielle Gray, and, of course, Mr. Roberto, who is
Hello.
here. So we are so glad you guys have joined us and are drinking with us today, and we're having good fun with this. Danielle has poured some Triple Oak, so while that gets passed around, I want to tell you about a few cigars to watch for here. One of Ian and myself's favorite cigar companies The Honduran cigar maker JRE Tobacco is bringing back their Aladino limited edition. And these guys make some fantastic
I love
Honduran
Aladinos.
cigars. This year, they returned to the market with a larger production, and they're expected to start reaching retailers right around the start of November. JRE says the consumer and industry response were so positive. People kept asking for it, so they just had to bring it back. The size and blend are the same as last year's release. It's still a Toro. It's still made with only Honduran tobacco, so it's a Honduran Puro. And the blend was originally developed as one of several prototypes for an 80th birthday cigar in honor of Julio Arroyo, who we got to hang with.
Dude, he was so awesome.
His son, Justo, was amazing to sit and talk with. But when you sat with Julio, it was kind of like getting the audience with the king. You know what I mean? It was like, this guy knows more about tobacco than he's forgotten more about tobacco than most people will ever learn or know.
Awesome.
So he was he was the man.
So this is the Aladino that has the yellow band on it.
Yes, it's a 2024 limited edition.
Yeah,
and it is made with their factory in Honduras, and production is limited to 1,200 boxes of 20 cigars, which is twice as much as last year. So
nice.
So that's pretty excited. And just in time for Halloween, it is the return of the Wolfman. Like a sequel to an old horror flick, Tatuaje Cigars has brought back the Wolfman, a limited edition cigar first released in 2011 as part of their yearly Monster series.
I love
release.
all their monsters.
Yeah,
It's called
the Dracula is my
Wolfman
favorite.
Redux.
Yeah.
It is the fourth release in Tatuaje's Monster series, and it is shipping now. It is made with a shaggy foot, resembling the pelt of a werewolf. It's a large box press torpedo, 7.5 by 52, and it retails for $13 each. So only 5,000 boxes of these have been produced, and they will join smokes based on classic characters like Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Mummy.
The Mummy.
So the Wolfman is out this year.
Hey,
so
theme cigars are fun. Punch does their
Well,
does their,
just like your cigar
food.
Today was the
it was the Ghooligan.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's all pretty exciting, I would say. And of course, Tatuaje, they do great work anyway. So it's time to check.
All right,
them out.
man.
I got to pass one more of these on.
You need to.
And then
you need
I
to
will
stop
try.
and take a sip of that.
All right, so,
So, cheers.
discuss amongst yourselves.
Cheers, friends.
This thing is something special.
It is.
Well,
Yes.
you're not kidding.
It's extremely special.
I mean,
a
it
lot
is
of fruit
so like the nose is so good on this. Remember I said I wanted a cologne that smelled like that beer earlier?
Yeah.
I want this to be my next cologne.
Okay.
Really, really.
I could just put these in fancy bottles and give them to you for Christmas as cologne.
a little here, a little mouth.
Yeah.
I love it.
Works well it's perfect until you get pulled over. But
Cops love this cologne. This smells.
Shit.
so Danielle, this is so. I started to use the word delicate. I don't know if that's right because it does pack a little bit of a punch when the heat comes back on you at the very end. But in the beginning, it's just so it's so easy to drink.
It's so
For me, there's some candied orange peel
beautifully
with
sweet.
some cinnamon and nutmeg,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a black pepper sort of in the middle on this. And then it just finishes just
Bubble gum.
just
it
bubblegum and
finishes
just beauty.
so beautiful, and then it comes back with this whiskey hug,
Yeah.
It sure does.
and it's so good.
So he made this. This is Owen Martin, our newer master distiller. We got him in 2022. He came from Stranahan's. First, he studied whiskey in Edinburgh, so he learned how to do all the finishing and all the fun things over there. And then he came over here, and we poached him from Stranahan's. And so it was really amazing that we got this person that is just into all of these beautiful things. And there's no better person for him to push the legacy that was already, there, all the tradition that's already there, and then push the legacy of finishing and everything. And this is from top to bottom. This is him. This is his creation.
This is so good.
I wonder what it would be like. I mean, I have a little bit of experience in this area back during my career as a radio station program director. You get a new job, and so you walk into the station, you're the new guy, you're taking over at the helm, after some other master distiller or program director, like we're doing it their way. Now you're going to come in and you're going to do it your way. And it can be a little intimidating depending on how good the guy you're replacing was, right?
Yeah.
I can only imagine stepping in as a master
Some shoes
distiller
here, yeah.
at Angel's Envy.
Right.
No, this is
That's
not at some
big
like
shoes, buddy.
It's not at like Joe's Whiskey where the guy in front of you didn't really do all that much.
Yeah, no, this
is a
40 years of legacy.
but
these are
plus.
or you think
But
about
also, how awesome is a company that you come in from that position and they let you
and they go, okay,
create something?
you're on your own, go for it. Yeah, and you go, okay, I'm going to work on this
that's-
triple oak idea that I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is him. This is all him. He wanted to. This is our first time getting away from finishing in fortified wine or spirit barrels, and just really showcasing what oak
Showcasing
does.
just the oak.
You
So-
know,
Roberto, I saw you went back to the straight bourbon.
I want to point out, look, I was just tearing up a
you
little
cry,
bit.
don't cry.
So good.
Such a touching story, Danielle.
I do that.
I want to go back to this. Like, so you come back with the whiskey hug, and if you sit there and you don't take another sip immediately, you end up with this gentle oak astringency that just kind of settles into your palate.
Right.
And just makes you wish you had another sip. It's
We call that the
actually-
Doritos effect.
Yeah, it's actually beautiful.
That's why you were crying.
That's why I was crying.
There's more. Don't cry.
Okay.
We have a whole bottle.
Roberto, I noticed you went back to the original
bourbon. Yeah.
the original straight bourbon. What were your thoughts about returning to that after the triple oak?
It's almost because the bourbon itself is great. It's an amazing bourbon. But whenever you go back to this, it's like you strip down a whole, like half of the flavor or something. Like, it's just like,
See, I agree. I thought I
see.
found
Yeah.
much more flavor in this
Yeah.
before I
the
went.
complexity is like,
Right.
But it's kind of like if you have a Mountain Dew and a whatchamacallit bar, right? Once you eat the whatchamacallit bar, the Mountain Dew tastes kind of like, seltzer water. And I think what's happening is
I was going to say ass, but but yeah, seltzer water will do.
so this is so rich and there's so many things going on. And also like it comes across kind of delicate at the beginning of the palate, but I really think that this packs a punch on the palate. And when you go back to this, it does what you said. It strips some of the flavors because you don't realize that for whatever reason this wants to seem like it's gentle, but it's really
No, it's very
really
robust.
wrecking your palate. to
Robust
really
It
and
actually
complex.
shows you how gentle the bourbon port finished in port
Yeah.
wine
Yeah,
barrels is.
yeah.
It's, that's sort of silky and soft and delicate, and then this thing comes in and just gives you all the caramel and spice and butter and
exactly.
yummy.
And
the butter.
The butter is
Fruit
just
notes.
beautiful
So
on it.
good.
Yeah.
Just have to ask this before we get too much further away. What is this bottle going to retail for?
It's about 60 to 65
That's
bucks.
really-
So it's
Are you
in the
kidding
middle.
me?
Are you kidding me?
Are you
No.
kidding me?
I thought it was
And
like
it's
in the
not an
100.
LTO. This will be on the shelf
I
all
thought
the
this was
time.
going to be north of 100 easily.
I'm going to tell
No.
you, I've had more than one $100+ whiskey that comes nowhere close to this in terms of how
I honestly
great
thought it
is.
was going to be in the 90, 100.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
We wanted
Amazing.
it to be right, and we wanted it to be highly accessible and right in the middle of the bourbon and the rye. So we have
God bless
3
you.
SKUs that you get to
God bless.
choose
Much-
from all the time,
much like
and they're
Ian,
accessible.
Thank you for
I'm
your
tearing
service.
up a little.
Andy.
We'll be right back. It's Smoking a Toast.
Ian's going to compose himself.
Guys,
during
let's
this
do
break.
this. Sexy time music.
Welcome back. Yes, it is. That's the Suffers, baby.
This
Love
is
it.
so good.
Houston's own The Suffers. This is Smoking a Toast, and our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We are heard every week on great radio stations around the country, like WSGO 990 AM in Nolens, Louisiana.
Nolens even.
Yeah.
Who dat?
So hello, Nolens.
Who
We
dat?
appreciate being on with you guys this week. Ian, you put a little bit of water into that whiskey before we
did.
start drinking news. I wanted to get your take on it.
It turns into a hard candy / bubblegum bomb.
Really, with
It's
just a drop
so
of water.
good. Just a
Wow.
drop of water.
All right.
And it opens it up into this just beautiful thing. And I don't know that I like it better than the whiskey being straight, but it is a whole new dimension to it.
A whole new dimension.
And
Oh, yeah.
it turns it
Yeah.
into a whole new whiskey, and it's amazing. It's so good.
Okay, I'm gonna check this out, and then we'll do drinking news.
Damn.
See what happens here.
I agree. That I always put the drop of water in
So
it.
you are right about the bubble gum, like right to the front, like front of the palate.
And typically adding a little bit of water can make it a little bit more aggressive on the spice. This one became sweeter.
I was just about to say this is not more aggressive though. It's like a little mellower, a little bit.
Yeah, and kind of like the sweet notes came out.
Yeah, yeah.
And it continues
Very
to finish.
interesting. Yeah.
The finish is very
Yeah.
long and lovely.
It's and
And remind me of the price. What did you say?
60
around
to 65.
60 to 65?
it's so crazy.
Holy cow.
Could be 70 in some places.
Sure.
Yeah.
I understand.
But yeah,
I understand. That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's
accessible.
gorgeous. Gorgeous, Mike.
Gorgeous. I
It
love
is.
the way that you do that.
It really is. It makes me, it puts me right in the mood for taking another sip and doing drinking news.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news, drinking news, drinking. You can sing with me if you want. Now it's time for
drinking news.
A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
I got to take my gator to the vet.
that's the best thing I've ever heard. Drinking news,
Very
drinking
Louisiana.
news.
Very
Now it's
Louisiana.
time for drinking news.
Almost a little like Cajun there. You know?
That was so awesome.
Yeah, it makes me want to go get crawfish and beer.
Oh, everything makes me want to go get
So with you.
We're
Drinking
going to
news.
BB's after this.
Drinking
Sorry.
News is the segment on our program where we bring you a story, a news story from, the web or a newspaper, someplace that is not from a parody site like The Onion. This is something that is at least being reported as actual news fact. And the stories are often, but not always, about drinking. But they are always best enjoyed if you've been.
That was rebellious.
Yeah, that was really quite well done.
He's been
Scandalous.
practicing his sound effects lately.
Yes. So yeah, we're either really committed to the whole idea of organic sound effects, or we're far too cheap to buy a sound effects library. So
every
we do them ourselves.
time we make the sound effect
Yeah,
of an opening beer, we are actually opening a beer.
a beer gives
We
its
are-
life every time.
Yes.
Like an angel gets its wings in the story about the BB gun at Christmas. I didn't say that right, but you all knew what I meant, right?
The movie is terrifying. I
Yeah.
don't understand why it was aimed at kids.
I have no
it's just
idea.
the weirdest. Every time I see it, it gets darker and
You'll
darker.
The best.
You'll shoot your eye out.
Like, what?
Shoot your eye out,
Who
kid.
thought that
And
this
then
was
he
a
puts his foot and shoves it
child's
down the
movie?
slide.
If you're like me, you've probably had some experience with, let's just say, pretty bad house guests. They're the ones that show up unannounced, eat all your Chex Mix, drink all your liquor, and worst of all, overstay their welcome. And even though you're checking your watch and saying things like, "Oh, would you look at the time?" and "Damn, I got to get up early for that proctologist appointment in the morning," and they never seem to take the hint. And they keep going on and on with stories about, that time they supposedly made out with Scarlett Johansson, which is absolute crap, right? And saying things like, "Oh, you're out of onion dip? Here, I'll just go in your kitchen and make some. Where do you keep the mayonnaise?" If this sounds very specific, that's because it is.
Where do you keep the mayonnaise?
I will spare you the uncomfortable
I had
details.
$1 for every time I heard that.
Where you keep the mayonnaise?
I even had a house guest once who was staying at my place, and when I came home one day, all of my stuff was gone. Oh, wait, that wasn't a house guest. That was my ex-wife. But I digress. In any event,
Once again, that explains a lot.
in any event, a story out of the Sunshine State this week suggests that as bad as my house guests, or yours, might have been, the trophy for worst of the year will go to a Florida man.
What's new?
Florida man.
It was in Hialeah that a young woman stepped out of her house for just a few minutes and then returned, only to find Roberlandis Pena, a 26-year-old Florida man, had decided to break in and make himself at home.
Oh,
When the woman
how else
opened
would you make yourself?
when the woman opened up the door, there he was, completely naked.
Terrifying. Ew, naked
Yeah.
too? Dang. Why would
He
you?
was very comfortable.
It gets worse.
These Florida people.
He then introduced himself. Hi there. I'm Satan.
What?
Hi there, I'm Satan.
Now, you don't have to be a really great host or hostess to know that this visit is probably going to go downhill from there.
Hi,
Yeah.
Mr. Morningstar.
And
So,
that's just
Satan
what it
came
did.
by today.
The naked Florida man jumped on her, then started saying some typical Florida man stuff, like how it was her last day on planet Earth and calling her a pedophile and basically telling her that she had to die. And now this, of course, is terrifying.
I bet.
The woman tried to make a run for it, but Pena grabbed her and dragged her back inside by her hair. Now, I just want to do a little disclaimer. We normally don't tell Florida man stories that are quite this violent, but this one is important because our story then gets even stranger. The Florida man then began claiming to be her husband and even rummaged through a drawer and took a pair of her hubby's underwear. The good news,
Okay,
'Cause
so,
we need
so
some
now
about
he's
now.
getting dressed now.
yeah, the good news is that the victim began screaming, yelling for help and begging her neighbors to call the cops because there's a naked psycho at her place or a psycho in her
Satan.
husband's underwear yelling nonsense. Good news is the neighbors did just that. And by the time the police showed up, the young woman was fortunately still unharmed. But Satan was still yelling, swearing that he was married to the victim
Satan lives in
Still naked?
Florida.
and that she was some kind of guardian angel. Pretty much the definition of a dude who is really committed to the role. Meanwhile, this poor woman kept saying, I don't even know this guy.
Meanwhile, back at the League of Justice.
Now, you may think
Oh my
you
gosh.
may think that this is the end of the bad house guest story, but not quite. Because
stayed.
before police could cuff the Florida man and take him away, a second uninvited house guest showed up and began begging the victim not to press charges. It was Pena's mom.
Oh my gosh.
She fell to the floor and started sobbing and pleading for her son,
That's awkward.
who was now wearing only
Awkward.
a
No, not
borrowed
happening.
pair of underwear and locking silver bracelets.
Okay, because it could have been more awkward if he didn't borrow the underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Florida mom rolled on the floor and continued to beg for mercy for her son. Now, the woman whose home had been invaded by a naked Satan said she felt for the Florida mom, but insisted she could have died. And she felt like justice needed to be served, right? We've
Of
all
course.
seen that movie, right?
Yeah.
So now Pena's facing charges of burglary with assault or battery, and the poor homeowner at least has an insane bad house guest story that she will never forget, and will top pretty much anyone's at parties.
And also, you did that in front of your mom, dude.
yeah.
Damn.
That's
But
awkward at
as
best.
bad as it could be to have Florida Man as your surprise guest, it goes without saying that there are a number of things that could be just as bad. It really does go without saying, but we're going to say them
We're
anyway.
going to say it anyway. Yes.
From our crack staff of semi-inebriated drinking news contributors, here is a sample of those in the form of another uninvited top 5 list. By the way, do you like how I'm blaming this on drinking news contributors?
Yes.
They're imaginary, of course, but maybe that way you guys won't.
It's like the Daily Show staff. We
yeah.
all blame Jon Stewart, though.
This would be the top 5 uninvited house guest, just as bad as Florida Man. Number 5, you come home to discover a naked man named Satan who wants to sell you some Amway products. Number 4, it's 2 guys in white shirts carrying issues of The Watchtower. Number 3, your blind date shows up, and it's Flo from those horrible insurance commercials.
Oh my gosh.
Number 2, it's Will Smith at your door telling you to keep his wife's name out your effing mouth.
You know, and he never cursed in any of his rapping.
I know. Or his movies even, did
His
he?
movies.
Yeah. And the number 1 uninvited house guest, just as bad as Florida Man, number 1, You answer the doorbell to find it's P. Diddy and his crew with bottles of baby oil saying, "We're here for the freak off." Reporting live from a home I wasn't invited to in Hialeah, where I've just discovered that the woman's husband's underwear don't fit me. My name is Cruz, and that is your...
Drinking news, drinking news. That's our time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. Oh, boy, this is good.
So good, right?
This is the Triple Oak.
So damn good.
I'm sorry,
I told you, we sneeze on air all the time, so
Okay.
don't worry about it. The Triple Oak with the
Now,
Angel's Envy.
I mean, you should definitely try this.
I mean,
other
This
one.
is phenomenal.
Do we have time?
All right, so I think we do. We've got a couple of minutes.
And then you
left.
have to, like, we taste it and then you
My-
take a
my
bite of that
tri- my
chocolate.
triple is-
I know. That's what I'm
Triple
saying.
Oak is broken.
You're talking about
That's the
what's
way I
good,
like it,
but
though.
you see, I think
Yours
Ian
is
and I are
broken.
saying it.
This stuff
it was
evaporates.
good.
So did we hand you an empty glass? Is that what happened?
I don't know. I
Don't
feel
know what
like
happened. Okay.
You're
I got
lying,
you.
Terry. You're
All right.
lying.
All right, so Roberto, let's open this up. This is something you got from your friends at Reserve 101.
Yeah, so they had
this is-
their release party last Wednesday, and my amazing friend Danielle was there too. We had an amazing tasting. We had a cocktail pairing, and we had the chocolates too. We had a great time. Danielle had an amazing presentation speaking about everything Angel's Envy. The first day that I had actual real food for the first time, like in 4 or 5 days after being sick,
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, he was
was-
pretty bad.
it was
Wow.
bad.
I just want to say Reserve 101, for those who don't know, is a really cool little downtown Houston whiskey bar that is dangerously close, in fact, walking distance from my house.
Yes.
It's 15 years, or is it 15 years old? Or Jace has been working
Jace
there for
had been
15
working for
years?
15
Yes.
years.
Oh my gosh.
I
so
was
it's-
really
it's a-
worried
and it's
they-
iconic.
Yeah,
in
I was
Houston.
really worried they would not come back from the pandemic, but they did.
Yeah.
And I was very happy.
We're
about
also
And
very
they-
happy that they did.
Tripled the size of the bar as
that. Yeah,
well.
yeah, It's,
Yeah.
Because it
pretty
used to be
cool.
just a little shotgun, and they had
Gorgeous.
What do we use?
Gorgeous.
Do we need something else
Is
to pour
gorgeous.
that into?
What do we need?
Should I just use plastic?
Oh,
cup?
we need glasses.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, plastic cups.
I can.
We can use plastic cups for
We
this
can
one.
do the old bartender. So this right here is a sherry finish single barrel from
Okay.
Angel's Envy. So
And so this was
only-
one that was specially selected by Reserve 101, the bar, correct?
Bacardi actually selected it, and Sean found out from me that we had it, and he's a sherry person through and
It's a
through,
big
sherry
sherry,
finish
yeah.
person,
Yeah.
and he, as soon as I said it to him, his all of his things went up, and he said, "Okay, let's just do it." And so, he bought the
if you're
barrel.
in Houston, you're downtown, Reserve 101, you can sample this.
There was only 100 barrels of this made and shipped out into the United States. There was only a few states that actually got them, and we got the only one, I believe, either in Houston or in Texas.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really special.
And by the way, on Sunday nights at Reserve 101, and it's I can't believe how many people are not there on Sunday nights.
Yeah.
Sunday nights is $6
For
per
barrel picks.
per ounce for any barrel pick that they have.
Yeah.
Except tequila.
Except tequila.
Any
Except
whiskey
tequila,
barrel pick.
yeah.
Well,
Which is outrageous, by the way.
I know
Outrageous.
I know we've only got just a moment left in this segment, but have you tasted this?
I have not yet.
Insane.
So it's Oloroso
really-
sherry casks. Just like everything else, it's our bourbon to start with.
Oh
4
my
to
gosh,
6
what
years
is
in American
happening
oak,
to my
and then is aged for, I think, about 4 months in Oloroso sherry casks.
I would put this up against La Santa.
This is outrageously good. Like, this is a chocolate
I think this would be a great moment for you to eat. that.
and
All right.
Have
and
one.
We have
like
one more
sherry
segment.
bomb.
We have one more segment. We'll go to it as we do that, and we still have one more beer to try. So we got a lot to cram into this final segment, but this is so worth it. We'll be right back. Smell the other.